Hey, hey! Happy Friday and happy Digest Day! I had so much fun putting these digests together last season that I'm doing it again because it's such a nice chance for me to look around and look at what's inspiring me and then share that with you. So if you have enjoyed these, tune in on Fridays for short and sweet digests, particularly this season, looking for inspiration on people who've changed, who've made pivots, who have had big decisions thrust upon them or have chosen themselves to switch it up and do something different. Hoping you'll follow along and be inspired as well every Friday. Hey, happy Friday! As I record this, it's a beautiful sunny day. We put a skylight in this room where I record, which would otherwise be a closet in our attic. And I can look up and see the blue skies and hear the birds, and it feels like spring is on its way, which is bringing me joy. I want to share 2 poems this week because honestly, poems right now are what bring me joy and what keep me hopeful. And speaking of hopeful, the first poem I want to share, I'm actually going to let Cheryl Jewett read it. She was on the podcast this week with her sister, Lisa Williams, and the two of them are founders and leaders of the Persisters. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode, I would highly, highly recommend going back and listening to that. It is quickly becoming the most popular episode of season 7. For very good reason. The Persisters are a group based out of Tosa, but really welcoming to anyone who share on the weekly concrete and specific actions that we can take. So if you're finding yourself overwhelmed by what's happening in the world, but don't quite know where to start or who to call or how to rise up and protest, let the Persisters help you. They have a weekly newsletter that gives step-by-step instruction on how you can do that. And Cheryl shared a poem, and I wanted to share that again here.
A thing with feathers, says Dickinson. Perhaps the best thing, says Dufresne. Begins in the dark, says Lamotte. Seen, though invisible, says Keller. Imagine it, says Lennon. Live in it, says Kingsolver. It is infinite, never lose it, says MLK Jr. Feed it, says Eliot. We say hope means there's work to do.
Indeed, we have work to do. The other poem I wanted to share comes from a book called The Unfolding by the poet Rosemary Watola Trommer. I just love her. I feel like every poem she sends, and she sends a poem every single day if you get on her newsletter, speaks to me somehow. She is just beautifully sort of narrating these times that we're living in. And her book just came out, and this is a poem called Because. So I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first, and if it is insufficient to share love, I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I ask myself, what's the use of trying? But today, the invitation is clear, to be ridiculously courageous in love, to open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible, and opening anyway, to take love seriously, to give love wildly, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance, to feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and stay open, to love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it. Thank you, Rosemary. Yet again, a beautiful poem speaking to what it feels like right now with a little bit of overwhelm and what can I do? But I can approach each day with love, bring love each day, and stay open. I also have a deck of cards that my friend Andrea Scher made. And the one I pulled today, it's a little deck of inspirational sayings and uplifting quotes. And today, the one that I pulled says, "Sometimes the sacred is tucked away in the hardest circumstances. There is deep joy to be found there." Let's bring the love and look for the joy where we can find it. I would love to know where you are finding your joy. If I can share that on one of these Friday digests, I would love that, because I think we all need to connect in not only the resistance and what's hard, but what's joyful. And I do want to just say a quick thank you, because a couple Fridays ago, I announced that I was part of organizing a dinner for the Henan Refugees Relief Group that's happening on Monday, and those tickets sold out in a heartbeat. People are stepping up. People want to help. And I'm so grateful for those who bought tickets, and for those who couldn't get tickets. It's not too late to help the Henan Refugees Relief Group. They are still struggling with funding the refugees who are here after the stop work order. Sadly, I talked to the executive director, Sheila, who was on a few Fridays ago, and they have had to make some cuts in terms of their staffing, but they are still serving the community of refugees here in Milwaukee. So if that is something that you are passionate about, I will put a link in the show notes of how you could make a donation to the Henan Refugees Relief Group, which would be most welcome. All right, let's stay hopeful this week and remind ourselves that hope means we have work to do. I'll be back next Wednesday with another Milwaukee woman living her dream in the Cream City. Until then, Milwaukee, keep on dreaming.